Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about all things middle grade March. We're going to be talking about the books that I'm going to be reading. I have some recommendations for you. I just could not be more excited for this event. So hi, my name's Talia. I love books, I love bandanas. I'm so glad you are at my channel today. Middle grade March is one of my favorite events of the year. I love reading middle grade. I love how there's such a wide variety of middle grade out there, and middle grade March always just gets me excited to see what new books I can find and recommend books to others that I've read and loved in middle grade. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Middle Grade March is hosted by three lovely ladies. We have Life Between Words, Books and Jams, and On the Middle Shelf. There is also an official Middle Grade March YouTube channel. So I will link all these channels below. If you want the whole scoop about Middle Grade March and what it entails, you can go check out those channels. I am going to be talking a little bit about the prompts today, but as far as my reading goes, I'm kind of doing my own thing. So we're kind of going to do a combination of things here today. So first we're going to go through the prompts. The official prompts from Middle Grade March for this year. And I'm going to give you a recommendation in each of those categories of books that I have read and loved. And then after that, I'm going to talk to you about what I will be actually reading this March. So the first prompt is one word title. And I actually finished a book last month that fits this category perfectly, and that is Echo by Pam Munoz-Ryan. And I think this is a perfect book to read for middle grade March. If you have not read middle grade much, if you're kind of like, is this really something I want to participate in? Echo is the perfect book for you because it is a book that can be read by all ages. It doesn't have any cheesiness or silliness, or it's not what you would think of when you think of a typical middle grade book designed for children, which a lot of middle grade aren't actually. And I tend to steer toward middle grade books that are designed with older people in mind as well. To me, that's what a good middle grade is if it can be read by people of all ages, because some middle grades are just a little bit cheesy, but the ones I like are not. So anyways, Echo is an amazing story. It spans a couple different decades around World War II era, starting World War II era and moving kind of forward from there. Follows three children in different situations in their lives, and there's kind of a little bit of a magical element. There's this harmonica that has a little bit of magic attached. So I wouldn't say it's a fantasy book. It's definitely historical fiction, but there's a little bit of whimsical musical mystery / magic woven in a little bit. And I thought it was amazing. I listened to it on audiobook. I highly recommend you do the same. It was just super entertaining, super well done. Couple different narrators woven throughout. And yeah, that is definitely a great book with one word in the title that you could read for that prompt. The second prompt is a debut novel. So I'm so excited about this one because I haven't talked about it a lot on my channel, and I love this book so much. So Amari and the Night Brothers was B.B. Alston's debut book, and it's fantastic. And he actually, I've read the first one and the second one. The third one's actually coming out this year. So if you are looking for a great new middle grade fantasy series, this debut is so good. So our main character is Amari. She lives kind of in the low income housing projects with her family, with her mother and brother. At the beginning of this story, her brother has gone missing, and no one's really paying attention to where he has gone. Everyone's kind of oh, whatever, he was probably doing drugs or in a gang or doing shady things or whatever. And Amari knows her brother and knows that that is not the case. So Amari one day actually finds this suitcase, this I think it's ticking, some sort of magical suitcase in a closet in her home, and it ends up being from her brother with this nomination to come to become a part of the supernatural investigation, I can't remember what it's called, this international place of supernatural affairs. So it's like this place where you go. And she realizes at that point that there are magical beings around her. And there's magicians and dwarves and mermaids and all these kind of things. So she goes to this school and ends up starts learning about what her brother was involved in, like the magical stuff that he had going on and the magical stuff that she has going on, and we just kind of go from there. So it's very like and they're kind of like trying to protect people or like keep control of like all these other magical beings. So it has very much like Men in Black vibes, if you've seen that movie back in the day. Kind of like teenager Men in Black, but living at a school, so like Harry Potter vibes. Like, it's really good. It's really well done, super entertaining. Cannot recommend it enough. This is a great debut novel for you to read. Okay, the next category is immigration/refugee story, and I have a great one for that as well. So, oh, we're gonna drop books. No. When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. This is a nonfiction about Omar Mohammed's time in a refugee camp and what it was like kind of escaping his home, fleeing with his brother, being in this refugee camp, having really no idea how long he's going to be living there, and his story of eventually like trying to go to school in the refugee camp and get educated and like trying to pull himself out of that situation. It's a graphic novel. It's amazing. It's super cute. I actually listened to the audiobook first before getting the graphic novel, which you think wouldn't be that great to do like an audiobook of a graphic novel, but it was really well done. It was well narrated, and I like when audiobooks have like different sounds and like make you feel like you're in the book, and that was really well produced. So I recommend that. But also just the pictures and the story and just like the friends he made and relationships in the refugee camp. And Omar Mohammed obviously now is sharing his story, but he also does tons of work for refugees around the world. So definitely recommend that. It was fantastic read. Learned so much about the refugee crisis from it. So that's an excellent one. Okay, down to the floor. A book you missed out on. The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. I read this a couple of years ago. I think it was published in the 70s, and it is a super just cute, small, middle grade mystery novel. So we have like this apartment building, and it's been a while since I read it. I think there's a certain number of apartments, and this guy has rented out all the apartments. Like there's this guy in charge of it all. And I don't remember if he passed away or all I know is they're gathered there. Like it's been orchestrated that all these people rent out these apartments, and then they end up reading, they gather them all together and they like read the will of this man, this wealthy man who owned this building. And we kind of go from there. And then there's like a mystery involved, and they're trying to figure out like why this guy was important and why they were all in his will. And again, I can't remember a lot of it, so it's time probably for a reread. But I remember thinking when I read this, and it was published back in the 70s at some point, like, oh my gosh, how did I miss out on this as a childhood? This is such a great, easy little mystery. Loved it. So if you have not read The Westing Game, you definitely should. Oh, I went out of order. Okay. Good thing I have my notes with me to keep me on track. So the last prompt, out of order, is an animal on the cover. So the one that I chose for this for you to read is called Outside Nowhere by Adam Borba. And this book I actually read during middle grade March of last year, and I found it pretty randomly, just like browsing through the middle grade section of the library. This one came to my attention, and it has a little cow. I'll put a little picture here. It has like a little cow jumping over a house on the cover. So this book is about this kid, and he is kind of getting into trouble. Like he is supposed to be working at the swimming pool over the summer, and he's like having all sorts of shenanigans there and ends up getting kicked out because he doesn't want to work there anyways. So his parent or uncle, maybe he's living with an uncle, can't remember. He gets sent to this like house for other boys that are kind of naughty to live in. So they're living and they're like forced to like work and do farm life and like behave themselves and do some manual labor because they are not being obedient in their other lives. So I don't want to say too much about it, but there ends up being like some magical elements, and that's where the cow jumping over the roof or standing up on the roof comes in. There's like some magic that comes into it. But I wouldn't say it's like a fantasy novel. It's pretty much grounded in reality, but then there's like these little things that happen that end up helping him learn to be a better human. So I just thought it was really well done. I want to read some more by this author. I think I just like the way his books flow and how there's little lessons woven throughout, but isn't like in your face. Yeah, really recommend that. So those are my recommendations for the 5 categories for you. The group read I am going to be participating in, library permitting, because I requested the audiobook for it. It is The Mona Lisa Vanishes, and that is by Nicholas Day. And this is about the Mona Lisa, and apparently it's a true story. So nonfiction, and it's about the story of how it was stolen at one point. And I had no idea about this story. I've always kind of wondered why the Mona Lisa is so like popular, I guess, or famous, because I'm not an art person. Like, I don't know. To me, the Mona Lisa does not speak to me when I look at her. But apparently she's famous because of this heist that happened to her at one point in time. So that is what we are reading, this nonfiction in middle grade format, so it should be pretty easy to digest. And I love nonfiction so much, so I'm really excited to have like 2 of my favorite genres, middle grade and nonfiction, coming together for the group read. That should be really fun. I did request the audiobook because I have so many other physical books that I want to read that I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to fit that in is if I can get the audiobook. So it's on hold at the library, hoping it will come in time for me to be able to read that. Okay, so now let's talk about what I'm going to be reading. Now, I picked out my books for middle grade March before the prompts dropped. And I had time to do it. I was excited about it. I was like, I'm gonna pick out books that I want to read and just kind of try to fit them in the prompts. So I'm gonna go through those books with you, and we'll kind of see as we go what can kind of fit into what prompts. And I know they're not all going to though, so we'll see what happens. Okay, and I definitely have more books probably than I will be able to read during the month, so some of them will probably not make the cut. I'm gonna start with what I know for sure I will be reading and then go from there. So Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This could fit in the category of books you may have missed out on, because this has been published, I think, like 10 years ago. It's been around a while, and this is really kind of a polarizing middle grade novel. I've heard really good things about it, but then I have a close friend who is like, I hate that book. I don't think you should ever read that book. So I'm actually buddy reading this with Chatty the Mad Chatter. We're gonna see how we feel about it, and see how it goes. I don't even know what this is about at all, but it's funny. One of my twins came in last night to my room and he was like looking through my stack of books and he's like, what's this about? And I was like, I actually don't know. And he's like, I think it's about 2 kids and a train. And I was like, it does kind of look like a train there. I think it's like a, I don't know what it is. It's like a glowing tower, but it does kind of look like a train shooting out. So I don't know, it's about 2 kids. That's all I know. So yes, and that I think can fit in the category of what we missed out on since it's been so long since it was published. Okay, also definitely going to be reading The Swifts. I think we can count this for 1 word in the title because the doesn't count, right? And we don't have to count Dictionary of Scoundrels below it. We'll just say it's called The Swifts. This is also a buddy read, and this is with Kelly Reads a Lot and Chatty the Mad Chatter as well. We're going to be reading this, and Vidania from Vidania Silver Scribe. We're all going to read this together in March. And I don't really remember what this is about as well. Let's look. On the day they're born, every Swift child is brought before the sacred family dictionary. They're given a name and a definition. A definition it is assumed they will grow up to match. Meet Shenanigan Swift, little sister, risk taker, mischief manager. Shenanigan is getting ready for the big Swift family reunion and plotting her next great scheme, hunting for Grand Uncle Vile's long-lost treasure. She's excited to finally meet her arriving relatives until one of them gives Arch Aunt Shondafrude a deadly shove down the stairs. Oh, so it's like a mystery. And Shenanigan is going to try to solve the mystery. Yeah, that's going to be cute. That's going to be cute. That's going to be fun. That will definitely be read this month. Okay, one that's been on my list for a while and also one word in the title is Hollowpox. This is the third book in the Neverwhere series, and it's been a while since I read the second one. So we have this girl, Morgan Crow. She ends up being taken to this magical land. I can't remember. She's like scheduled to die, if I remember correctly in the first book. She is like scheduled to die on the eve of her 13th birthday or something, and she doesn't. She ends up being like rescued and taken to this magical world. So kind of Harry Potter vibes going on, like this special place. There's magic that she didn't know existed. She's there. So really can't say much more about it than that because this is book 3, so we don't want to spoil all the happenings of book 1 and 2. But I'm excited to read book 3. And this is just a fun series, fun escape from reality, a world that when you're reading about it, you want to be in it. So yeah, really looking forward to getting to this one finally. The next book I kind of picked for the cover, The Girl from Earth's End. This is about a girl who lives on like this island way remote towards the end of the earth. And she has a family member that gets sick, and then I think she goes and like is hunting for some sort of magical plant that she knows will be able to save her relative. So again, the cover drew me in, and it just seems like a cute like adventure story with a little bit of magic woven in. So we will see how this one goes as well. Okay, I'm really interested in this one. This is The Probability of Everything by Sarah Everett. And this one, our main character, she is really into statistics and probabilities and, you know, what are the odds of things happening. And then we go very like, we go very serious when she sees an asteroid hovering over the sky, casting a purple haze over the world. Plus 68 has an 84.7 chance of colliding with Earth in 4 days, and with that collision, Kimmy's life as she knows it will end. So, yeah. We're gonna go from there. An asteroid's coming towards the Earth in this middle grade novel, and our, I'm assuming statistics and things are going to come into play when she's figuring out what to do about that. So again, I haven't read any middle grade novels like this one, so I'm pretty excited to see what happens there. Okay, and Simon Sort of Says sounds good too. This is actually probably going to be a little bit of a sadder one because I think it's about a school shooting. Where is the... Yeah, Simon is the only survivor of a school shooting. That story has followed him everywhere except his new home in the National Quiet Zone, where the internet is banned so radio astronomers can listen for signs of life in space. Then Simon meets a kid who wants to give astronomers what they've been looking for. And finally, he gets the chance to tell a new story about himself. So I feel like this is going to tackle a lot of topics, from what it's like to be the survivor of a school shooting and survive that, to what it's like to try to move on after that. And it seems like there's like maybe a little bit of sci-fi mixed in as well, as he's living in this zone where they're trying to search for signs of life in the universe. Probably a story of friendship as well. So I think this is going to be good too. So I don't know, these last three, I think probably it's going to be this one, and then this one, and then this one will be last if I have time, because these sound the most interesting to me. And actually, I might put this one before Hollowpox, so we might go like that, because I think I'm digging the asteroid event in that one. I think that's going to be fun to read. Again, I don't know if I would enjoy reading an adult book about that topic, but I think having it in like an easy digestible middle grade format will be fun. So And again, those last three, I honestly didn't even think about if they fit in any categories. So if you were watching and thought, oh, that would fit in that category, let me know, because I apparently gave up even trying. So that is my plan for middle grade March. Are you participating in middle grade March? Have you in the past? Are you intrigued at all by it? Again, I think even if you never read middle grade at all, there's such a wide variety of it out there that you should definitely at least just pick one up. Give one a try. See how it goes, because you might surprise yourself. And one thing I find is that I learn lessons when I'm reading middle grade books. I'm like, oh, like I never thought about that growing up, or I didn't realize that it was like that. And it's, I learn lessons, but it's done in such a digestible way where I feel like sometimes books designed for adults are like, this is a lesson and I'm going to shove it down your throat. I'm going to teach you this and I'm going to make you feel bad if you don't believe this. And I don't ever feel like that about middle grade novels. I feel like they're just designed to be easy to read and be fun. And yeah, I'm really excited about this month. So let me know if you are participating in what you are reading, if you have read any of these books. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. I hope you find some time today to read a good book or two. And if you are having a bad hair day, just wear a bandana. Bye.